Welcome to my live stream. My name is Brendan Dopp, and in this stream today, I will be answering your questions related to Etsy and print on demand. For those of you that are here now, go ahead and ask your questions in the live chat, and this will just be a hangout session where we'll be able to get our questions answered and hopefully help us overcome hurdles that we're currently facing right now selling on Etsy. Until I get some questions going here in the live chat, I will be talking about a few things that I want to discuss that will hopefully be beneficial to you for the coming year. And so the first one is I want to share and talk story about kind of our experience of starting on Etsy and getting started with print on demand, as well as talking about the power of starting something. So for those of you that aren't familiar with how I got started with print on demand, my wife and I were looking for a way to make money online 3 years ago so that we could travel full time. And we stumbled across a few videos and a few blog posts talking about print on demand and selling on the Etsy marketplace. And fast forward 3 years now, this is what we're doing full time. And now we've been able to make the means in order to be able to travel full time. And right now, if you're just getting started, I want you to know that it's still possible to make money on Etsy in the coming year of 2024. Yes, it's more saturated. There's more sellers currently on Etsy, but that doesn't mean there's not enough room for you, or there's no room for you. So don't be afraid to get started and just to take action. And because you'll never know what one thing could lead to the next. And with us starting selling on Etsy, it's led us to other business ventures, which we're excited about now, such as opening our Mockup shop, starting YouTube, and so on. So if you're just now getting started, I want to encourage you to keep with it. If you've been at it for a few months and it seems hopeless and there's not much opportunity with it and impossible to get sales, I want you to know that it is possible. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm no different than any one of you here, where I have no experience in e-commerce until I started 3 years ago, and we are self-taught. We learned everything that we need to learn on YouTube, on blog posts, talking with different sellers, etc. But if my wife and I can do it, I can promise you that you can do it. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the live chat, and I will start answering questions. And hopefully this will be as beneficial as possible for you. And so going back to the question of, is it still worth it to sell on Etsy in the coming year of 2024? 100%, I still believe it is very possible, and you can still find a lot of great success if you're willing to put in the work and follow the necessary steps and formulas and methods in order to find a great success. And I talk about everything on my channel that you need to know in order to get your shop up and running and to start making your first few sales. And then from your first few sales, taking it to your full-time income. There are certain things you have to do in order to stand out. You can't just make any old design and hope that it's going to sell. There's a lot of different methods to follow that can really set yourself apart from other sellers on Etsy in order to get that click from the buyer and to hopefully have them purchase from you. But I'm going to answer all these questions. So ask your questions and let's get started. So we have Miley on Disney here. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see here. Okay. So I spent about $1,000 on sublimation stuff and found out about POD week later. Yeah. So what's great with print on demand, for those of you that are new to this business concept, is it is completely hands off after you've done the upfront work. And also, you don't have to do any of the printing or shipping yourself. You work with a supplier who will do all of the printing and shipping for you, such as Printify or Printful. So when a customer places an order on Etsy, you then go and fulfill that order through Printify or Printful, and then they will print it and ship it directly to your customer. So it's nice for situations like my wife and I, who love to travel and be on the road. We are able to run a business like this because we're not tied down to a specific location. We're not stuck with holding inventory and having to fulfill that inventory by ourselves. So it's a great business model. It's very cheap to get started. You can start today and you can start making sales within a few weeks as long as you're willing to put in the work. But such a cool opportunity. And it's just crazy to think the ways you can make money today versus several years ago. The opportunities are endless. And so don't miss out on it. So we have Liz asking, I am currently designing for personalized Christmas ornaments. Am I still on time for the holidays? Yes, you are. You're definitely towards the end of designing for Christmas, but it's not too late. I always recommend preparing your listings at least 2 to 3 months out in advance so that they have time to rank, to gain traction, to gain engagement, and to gain sales, reviews, etc. Because you want your listing to be ranking on the first page come a month out or so from the holidays. That way, if you do get a bestseller, you can maximize the time that it's selling before that holiday is over. That is one downside of selling for the holidays, is you have a limited time frame in order to sell versus selling evergreen niches. But yes, you can still sell for Christmas, and you have these next few weeks in order to maximize your sales. So keep at it, and I wish you the best, Liz. Thanks for the great question. Okay, so we have Change With Yourself said, I'm from India. I want to start my business with Etsy. Please advise which products is in selection is good. So some of my most favorite products to sell is the Bella Canvas 3001, as well as the Gildan 18,000 crew neck sweatshirt. Both of these products have sold great for us in the past years, and they still sell well for us. There's a lot of different products you can choose from. What I always recommend is not being afraid to experiment when starting out. And then once you find a product that works well for you, double down on it and then scale that product with different designs, etc. Another method to do too is if you find a design that works well on, let's say, the Bella Canvas 3001, don't be afraid to put that design on other products, because most likely if it's selling on one product, it will sell on other products if it's applicable for that product. But those are my two favorite products to sell. Another great product to sell, and which is really popular still on Etsy, are comfort colors. You'll see them all over, and you do have this option available to you with either using fulfillment centers like Printify. Comfort colors are more expensive, but they do sell well, and don't be afraid to mark up your price and sure to make your profit. But um, yeah, it's those are three of the great products to sell. And also mugs sell really well. You can do blankets, you can do ornaments like Liz mentioned she's doing, but options are endless with print on demand. So don't be afraid to experiment. So, hi, Brennan. Are you running ads? So, we run ads from time to time. When you're first starting out, I recommend just focusing on the basics, building high quality listings with really professional mockups, high quality designs, doing your trend research, your keyword research, and making sure that your shop is fully optimized for a buyer before you start pouring money into ads, because it's very easy to burn money with ads. But once you find a listing that starts to perform well for you, then you can consider adding gasoline to the fire and spending ads on it. But let's say, Christian, if you just have extra money to spend, if you have a budget for ads, it's not a bad way to experiment and see what listings will do well and how they perform. But you do have to be cautious and careful and monitor your ads to make sure you're not just lighting money on fire. But I don't think it's essential. It's critical in order to have success to run ads. But yes, it is the best way to really scale a design or a listing. How long did it take you to start making sales? Great question, Karen. Thank you. Thanks so much for tuning in too. So it took us a few months before we saw our first sale, and I still will never forget that day when we had our first sale. And then after we had that first sale, later that afternoon, we had another sale, and it's one of the most surreal feelings of having your first sale and connecting your listing with a random stranger across the world, and they're purchasing from your store. But it did take several months. Some people, they'll get a sale within a few days or the same day. Some take 6 months, some take a year. It is just very personal on how long it will take you. And I can't say, okay, it's going to take you 4 months, then you'll get your first sale, and then come 6 months, you'll have 100 sales. I'm just not able to do that. But just know, if you're willing to stick with it and to push through the hard times when you're not making sales, that it will all be worth it in the end. And if you're not seeing sales right now, Karen, I recommend going back and looking at your store, seeing what your mockups look like, if they're competitive with the other thumbnail photos in search results, making sure your designs are trendy and that you're incorporating different elements that are trending as well as trend combining. So let's say if you're selling in the nurse niche, you combine it with, let's say, a pattern that's very popular or a font that's very popular, like a retro font, etc. But you have to make something unique and different. And you can't just go and copy what's already selling well, because buyers are going to go to that listing and purchase that because it has multiple reviews and it's selling, versus buying a brand from a brand new store or a brand new listing. But just keep with it, Karen, and know that sales will come as long as you keep learning, improving, and implementing. When designing shirts for Christmas, do you put Christmas stuff on the shirt or more generic? That's a great question, Miley on Disney. So I think it's important to know, if you just make a Merry Christmas shirt, it's going to, with a Christmas tree, it's going to be very difficult to stand out. So what you have to do, as I mentioned before, is figure out how to trend combine and be able to incorporate several different niches and popular trending elements into one design. So for Christmas, let's say Christmas is a very popular holiday to sell for, so you can incorporate Christmas themed colors with a specific profession that's very popular, and also include that specific profession with the Christmas themed colors with even possibly another niche or another category that's popular, like someone's favorite food, or just a popular color scheme or theme like Western, or I always say retro just because it has sold well in the past and still sells well today. But I think you can't just, actually, I know you can't just create a generic designs. You have to make very niche specific and combining several different things in order to make a bestseller. So just, yeah, just experiment and don't be afraid to try different things and make sure you're doing your trend research. Are buyers aware of what comfort colors are? So I don't know if they're necessarily aware of the specific brand Comfort Colors, but I know they're, for those that sell on Etsy or are currently with the trends or with the times, they know that it's popular and that it's in, and I know that it sells. So it's a great product to add to your store if you're not already selling it. Do you think the printed garments, t-shirt, etc. sector is too saturated to enter? Any advice? Julian, that's a great question. I think it is definitely one of the most popular products to sell on Etsy, and a lot of people are selling shirts, and a lot of people in-house are doing it as well. So people who aren't using print providers or doing print on demand, like using Printify or Printful, where they're just doing all the printing and shipping themselves. So it is very saturated, but that doesn't mean there's not opportunity for you. I think with anything in business, if you're willing to set yourself apart and stand out, you can succeed in anything. I've talked about this in a previous stream before, but if you take, for example, if you're familiar with Stanley water bottles, they were in the water bottle niche for a long time, but they figured out how to set themselves apart and to make a unique product that people would want. And now Stanleys are extremely popular, and it's in the water bottle niche where water bottles have been selling for years and years and years. So figure out how to set yourself apart, offer something different and unique, and that's the best way to succeed on Etsy and with anything in regards to business. So Christian, thank you, Brennan. I'm so addicted with your videos here on YouTube. I already opened my shop 5 days ago using your link with 40 free listings. Awesome. Congratulations on taking action. I'm excited to hear about your success. And really, everything you guys need to know is on my channel. It's all for free. You have to be willing to put in the work and to study my videos and to implement what I teach, as well as all of the other creators out there that are talking and teaching about Etsy. There's a lot of great resources out there with a lot of valuable information that's 100% free. So put in the work. That's how my wife and I did it. We didn't pay for any expensive courses. I paid for a $10 course off Udemy just to learn about the concept and to get started. But in reality, I learned more just watching YouTube and reading blog posts and talking with other sellers. But congrats, Christian. I'm excited to hear about your success. I use my own designs. I don't follow the trends. Not advised. I know I want to be different. So I don't think it's entirely wrong to use your own designs, but I think you do need to incorporate something that is popular and that buyers are looking for. Because Etsy, if you think about it, it is it's a search engine, really. It's a marketplace where buyers come to Etsy with something specific in mind, looking for either a personalized shirt for their family members, for themselves, something that they want. So you have to create things that are trending, including trending elements. But I think it's very smart to add your own twist or your own, um, I guess, interest or experience with it. So like if you're very familiar with, let's say, the gaming niche, just as an example, you could do really well with the gaming niche because you're familiar with it and you know what gamers want and that they would buy, by adding your own unique design or I guess idea. So, but keep at it, Money on Disney. I'm sure we'll do great for you. Okay, G. Standifer, good morning, Brennan. What a crazy busy year it's been. I'm starting a Shopify store and stumbling through that process. Have you done a Shopify store yet? So awesome, Gloria. It's good to have you here. It's been a minute since I've heard from you. And awesome job on taking action and starting another store and opening Shopify. We haven't sold specifically print on demand on Shopify before, but years before starting print on demand, we did do Shopify. We drop shipped from AliExpress and we didn't do much with it, but it kind of introduced us to the idea of e-commerce and making money online. But I know it can be very lucrative, and you can do really well with it as once you start figuring out how to do really well with running ads, as well as if you have a product that's doing well on Etsy, and then taking that over to your Shopify store. And I know what a lot of people do too, G. Sanifer, is they will use Etsy as kind of their experimentation where they will figure out what sells well and they'll find winning products and bestsellers. And then they will go and take that specific product and turn it into like a niche specific store by opening a Shopify store. So it's a great idea. And what's really nice with Shopify is you have full control of your shop and your store, and you're not at the mercy of Etsy. And so it's very smart. And I think on this topic too, it's for everyone, it's extremely smart to diversify and not to put all of your eggs in one basket because you really are at the mercy of Etsy right now. And if they want, they could flag a listing, they could flag another listing, and they could suspend your account for really no reason. And you hear about it happening very often. So you want to make sure you diversify and do things like opening a Shopify store so that if your Etsy store gets suspended, you still have that income from your Shopify store. And another thing too, as I mentioned before, this is a perfect example of what Gloria is talking about here is by taking action, like I mentioned in the beginning, it will always lead you to something new. When we first started our Etsy store doing print on demand, I had no idea about selling mockups. I had no intention to start a YouTube channel and to do other things that we're doing. But because I took that initial action, it led me to open more doors into new opportunities that are now sustaining us and funding what we want to do. So if you're on the fence right now about starting a print on demand store and starting selling on Etsy or starting whatever that dream business is or being your own boss or really whatever it is in life, if you take that first initial step, it will always lead to more opportunities. So keep us posted, Gloria, on how that goes and how your Shopify store goes. I'd be curious to see how things go forward for you. Your Printify Etsy listing tutorial was so helpful. Thank you. So thanks, Karen. I'm glad you found value in it. That is almost a year old now, I believe, and I need to do an updated one. I need to update a lot of my videos as just because programs and softwares have changed and just have made different changes. But I plan to do more tutorials in the future and longer form tutorials that will be helpful to you guys. But I know I've gotten a lot of questions on that specific tutorial that I did where it looks different. And I think a lot of it is if you were switched over to the newer version of the Etsy layout when you are creating a new listing, then it will be significantly different because the way I did that tutorial, if I remember correctly, was on the older version of it. But you can easily switch back to the old version to follow along on that tutorial to figure out the steps of it, and then you can switch back to the new updated version on Etsy. But yeah, I need to just do a new tutorial, updated one, so that it'll be beneficial for you guys. Should I have Separate account for t-shirts and ornaments or both products in one shop. I'm 100% for creating a general store, including several different products and different niches. And it's up to you what you want to do, but I think it makes perfect sense to have a shop with t-shirts, with sweatshirts, with mugs, with stickers, blankets, etc. Because really, when people come to Etsy, they're going to shop through your listing rather than through your store. And so they're going to go to the search engine on Etsy. They'll type in a cute ornament for teachers or whatever it is. And then they will click through onto that listing. They'll read the description, look at the photos, look at the reviews, and then they'll shop directly through that listing. And more often than not, unless they're curious on what else you're selling, they'll click through on your store. But I think it's smart. Just have a general store. It creates more opportunities to be found, allows you to take up more digital real estate on Etsy, and it's a great way just to diversify your store. So long answer short is to add them all into one store. Can you work with both Printful and Printify at the same time? Yes, you can. We have done this in the past. At one point of time in our business, Printify didn't have specific colors that we wanted to sell and that we were already selling. And so for those specific colors, we would fulfill them with Printful. And then all of our other orders we would fulfill with Printify. So you can easily work with both if you'd like. It's entirely up to you. With that, though, too, it's important that you're staying on top of your orders and managing your orders, making sure that everything's getting fulfilled correctly and that you're not having duplicate orders going out. Just you got to be organized and make sure you're on top of your game so that your customer receives what they ordered. So anybody starting should consider not using Printify default shipping profiles for each and every product. I think that's good advice. I always recommend going and building out your own shipping profiles on the Etsy end, and then you can select those profiles when you're when you're creating your new listing. So when you're creating your listing on Printify, it'll give you the option for them to add their own shipping profile to it. But you can, if you've already created your shipping profile, you can go and select your profile that you created and use that one. So for example, if you're selling t-shirts and sweatshirts in your store, you can have a shipping profile for your t-shirts and then a separate one for your sweatshirts, depending on what you're charging for shipping, the production time, etc. And that's exactly what we do. And in that long tutorial that I've done on how to create your listing with Printify, I walk you through those steps. Can you tell about SEO? Yes, that's a great question. So I think the biggest thing to remember, I guess two biggest things to remember with SEO is one, don't overcomplicate it, and two, to think like a buyer. So all you are doing when you are finding your keywords for your tags and for your title is you're figuring out what keyword will connect your listing with your buyer. And so you should be using both long tail keywords and short tail keywords. So for your primary keywords, the first keywords that the first keywords that you want to amplify to focus on at the beginning of your title are your most important ones, the most heavily weighted ones. And then you can use other smaller short tail keywords towards the end that will help your listing rank for whatever it is. So, for example, let me think of an example here. So, if you're selling, let's say, a Christmas sweatshirt, a very general short tail keyword would be Christmas sweatshirt. But if let's say you're selling it's a sweatshirt for teachers, you could do like cute teacher sweatshirt, or sorry, let me gather my thoughts. Cute Christmas sweat, cute sweat. Cute, I can't get my words together. So cute sweatshirt for cute Christmas teacher sweatshirt. Sorry, that was a rough one. I don't know why I struggled saying that. But you want to use these long tail keywords that are not so generic so that you can rank well for them, because it's going to be very difficult to rank for these very generic short tail keywords. But I think it's smart to have a combination of both. So sorry, I just lost my words there. I hope that made sense for you. And I do have videos on this for specifically for doing SEO, how you come up with the keywords for your title and for your tags. So I recommend going and watching those. But I do recommend using all 140 characters for your title, as well as all 13 tags. And it's up to you how you want to do it. Some say it's better to use different keywords for your title and your tags. And then others say it's better to use the same keywords that you're using in your title for your tags so that Etsy really knows what it is that you're selling. For me personally, in the past, we've always done our title where we use our keywords and then I just copy those keywords from my title into my tags. And then for whatever tags I haven't filled, I will come up with new keywords that are applicable to whatever design it is that I'm selling. But other ways to do this too is go search whatever niche that is that you're designing in. So let's say if you're selling for the nurse niche, go look up nurse t-shirts or sweatshirts or ornaments, whatever product it is, and then see what's ranking on the first page and see what type of keywords they're using in their title and in their tags. Because if that listing is selling, then you know that their keywords that they're using are working. And another great tool for this too is, which I talk a lot about on my channel, is the EverBee Chrome extension tool. This will help you with your keyword research as well as finding products that are selling well so that you can get an idea of what's currently trending. I hope that answered your question, even though I stumbled on all of my words. Is there a way to delete a section that you are no longer using? I can't find out how on Etsy. Yes, you are able to edit your sections whenever you would like. Off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly how to, but if you ask this question, I don't know the exact steps. I know how to do it, but if you ask this question after this video, the stream ends, I will answer that the best that I can with the exact steps that you need to know. Karen, so you have that same question. Also ask that question and I will give a comment on how to do that for you. So G Standifer says having those shipping profiles set up in Etsy and adding the express shipping as well is such a time saver when adding new listings in Printify. I'm always surprised how many people express ship AT. So that's awesome to know. And if you aren't familiar, Printify is offering express shipping now, which is really exciting. It is for specific products and specific product colors. And you're not able to have a say in what print provider fulfills that product because how it works is when your order comes in, Printify will send it to the print provider that's closest to that shipping address and who is able to get that out in the time allotted. So, but it is a great way to have a quick turnaround time and to make a happy customer if you're offering that color already that's included in express shipping. And make sure you set up your shipping profiles as G standard for recommended. EverBee is awesome. I also agree. It's a great tool that allows you to really increase your sales and to maximize your profits. And they're always adding new features. If you are currently using EverBee, if you're not, they just came out with a new feature for EverBee email where you can now send emails to your customers and it's all integrated with Etsy. It's a very powerful tool, especially when you're selling on a marketplace like Etsy where you don't really have full control of your customers. When you have an email list, you then have ownership to that email list and you're able to then market to those customers. Or if you're like G Standifer, where you go and open a Shopify store, you have those emails so you can then send them emails talking about new product releases or sales that you're running. But it's extremely smart to have an email list for your customers. And now with EverBee email, it's possible to do so. And I plan on making tutorials on how to use this in the coming weeks. Can you also make a tutorial about how to use EverBee for keywords research and product research, please? Yes, I definitely will make more. I don't have a lot for specifically for keyword research, but I do have a lot for product research. So if you go and look at my older videos on my channel, I highly recommend watching those because I've talked a lot about it and how it can benefit you and your business and help you go from 0 sales to 1,000 plus sales, etc., and turn this from just a little side hobby to your full-time income. So Karen's asking, I'm wondering whether to offer free shipping and fold the costs into the sale price. It's up to you what you would like to do, Karen. I've experimented with both methods, and I think there's benefits to both. With offering free shipping, you technically rank better on Etsy, and I think it's more appealing to customers just because they don't have to pay for shipping. But on the opposite side of that, there's a lot of people that charge for shipping, which allows them to have a lower base cost. So it appears to be cheaper in search results. So we'll get that initial click. But once you click through to it, you'll be paying $5 to $10 for shipping. So it's up to you. What I recommend doing, Karen, is experimenting and seeing what performs better for you in your own store. Because I've talked to people that have better success with offering free shipping, and then I've talked to people that have had better success with charging for shipping. So it's really situational. Us personally, we offer free shipping, and we've found the most success with that. But if you do decide to charge for shipping, as you mentioned, or if you do decide to offer free shipping, it is critical that you build that price, you build that cost into your price point so that you're not losing money when a customer places an order. So when I set up my production information, do I say I made it because it's my t-shirt design, or do I say someone else made it? So it's important that you tell Etsy and let Etsy know that this listing is made with the help of a production partner, and then you can include that production partner. And it's important to have that on all of your listings so that your listings do not get flagged. And you do this in the settings towards the lower third section of building out a listing, where you can add this. And so that Etsy knows that you're using production assistance with fulfilling your orders, because you're technically creating the designs. And so it's handmade in that sense. You're coming up with the design, but you're using someone to fulfill, to print and to ship your order. Some people will use the free shipping filter. That's another great tip that I forgot to mention. So if someone's going to Etsy and then they filter their search results by free shipping, or even another example is like running a sale, that's two great reasons to offer free shipping and to run a sale in your store. Because if someone filters it, you will then show up. If you don't offer that, you won't show up in search results and you'll miss out on that sale. Thank you for that tip, Miley on Disney. Do I select Monster Digital or Printify? It's up to you. We usually mention just Printify, but if you're just because we use different providers depending on what product it is that we're selling. But if you want to if you're only using Monster Digital, you can select Monster Digital and get the information on Printify. All right, if you guys are finding value in this stream, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. I'm going to take a quick water break, and then we will get back to answering questions. For those of you that just tuned in, I am answering any question that you have related to Etsy and print on demand. So go ahead and ask your questions in the live chat, and I will get them answered. Sherry Hoover says, I have a new shop and have only 4 sales. First of all, congrats on your first sales, Sherry. That's super exciting. The first one's always the hardest to get. And she continues to say, I have a designer background and just need some pointers on certain things. I have hundreds of videos and I'm just going to continue listing. Help. Okay, so I think the best advice I can give you, Sherry, is it sounds like you have the most important ingredient to succeeding on Etsy by having design skills already. So now you just have to master building out a high quality listing with having proven SEO, high quality mockups, and then figuring out how to situate yourself to stand out on Etsy to get those initial clicks. Because if you're able to create a high quality design, that's one of the hardest things to do, because no matter how high quality your photos are, how great your SEO is, if it's a design that a customer doesn't want, they're never going to buy it. So you're headed in the right direction. Just keep creating high quality designs and creating high quality listings, and just keep adding listings, because the more nets you have in the water, the more fish you'll catch. Same principle here with Etsy. The more listings you have, the more chances you'll have at making a sale. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out on my channel and ask those questions. And also with that too, don't forget to count your small wins. This is advice for everyone. I know you might be looking to like the grand future of, oh, if I could just make 100 sales a day, or if I could be making 2 to 3 grand a month. You kind of forget about the small wins that you have each day. So, like for you, Sherry, having 4 sales, you made 4 sales, and I don't know if they're organic or family, it doesn't matter. You still made 4 sales. That's a huge accomplishment, and you should be proud of yourself for that. So, don't forget to count your wins every day. Another advice I have for you is if you're feeling down and out about selling on Etsy and you're just not seeing success or any type of momentum, you should create a board that's next to your computer or wherever you work with the small wins that you've had for that day, or the small blessings that you've received, or the things you've learned, and to just be grateful for the small things, because that will help carry you through those times when it almost seems impossible. But success will come if you stick with it. Success will come. And also, Sherry, and for everyone, know that if you can be that 1% that will push through the times when it seems impossible, then you're going to have a more opportunity to succeed on Etsy, because more often than not, there's people that are going to start their Etsy shop and they're going to expect immediate results, and they're not going to see those immediate results. And so they're going to quit early. But if you can push through that hard time and hold on, you could be just right around the corner from really changing the course of your shop and changing the course of your life. I think back to 3 years ago when my wife and I started. If we had thrown in the towel just 2 months in, or 3 months in, or 6 months in, we would have completely missed out on this great opportunity that we've had the past 3 years of our life, where we've been able to really do what we want. We've had full control of our time. We've had financial freedom, and it's all because we were willing to stick with it. So keep up the great work. And I believe in all of you guys. And I know all of you can succeed at this if you're willing to just put in the work and follow the fundamentals and the methods that I teach here on my channel and that other people teach. Thank you for the live. Do you have any video about all over print for shirts or tote bags? I currently don't and have any videos on this, but this is a great video recommendation that I'll add and hopefully can do it in the future. There's a lot of great ideas that you guys share that I need to start creating these tutorials for, but I appreciate the recommendation. And I know there's other teachers on YouTube that should have videos on this if you just search all over print bags on Printify or whatever it is that you're looking for. But thanks for tuning in, and good to have you here. Okay, this is interesting, Karen. So she says, my first organic sale was the only listing that had a video. So this is something to consider implementing in your own store. If you're not utilizing that feature of adding videos to your listing in that photo section, it's a great opportunity to stand out, because it takes that little bit of extra work that a lot of sellers aren't willing to do. And for Karen, it worked for her. She had a sale, and I would bet it's because they were able to see that video and really see it or like envision it in real life. So great recommendation. Thank you, Karen, and congrats. So G stand for plus. Remember, when you do make sales, create more items using that design. Don't be so hard on yourself. 4 is great for a newer store. I agree with this. This is also sound advice. So if you have something that sells, remember that success leaves clues, and that you need to implement that onto other products, incorporate it into different niches, etc. That's the best way to increase your sales in your store. I'm focusing on adding lots of designs, and I'm trying not to work about sales right now. So awesome thoughts and ways of going about your business, Karen. I think something too with this is it's important to set goals that you have full control over. You have zero control of how many sales you're going to get that day or that week or that month or that year, but you do have full control over your education, what you're going to learn, things that you're going to overcome, new strategies that you're going to implement. You can have full control over counting your blessings, and so on and so on. So set goals that you have control over, because that's the best way to stay on the right path to success. And remember too that it's just a matter of experimenting and a matter of putting in the work in order to really see success in your store. So Jen, thanks for tuning in. Is it bad idea to have more types of products in your shop? Example, blankets, dresses, cell phones, dress shirts, etc. I only have 2 sales 1 year. So I don't think it's a bad idea at all. As I mentioned before, I think the more options you give customers, the more chances you have at getting found. And the best way to really scale a big shop is by having a general store. If you look at some of the biggest stores on Etsy, the majority of them are doing a general store where they're offering a lot of different products. And the reason being is so that they have more chances of being found and the more chances of having sales. I think with this though is, for example, like us when we first started, we were selling everything from sweatshirts, t-shirts, home decor, stickers, mugs, you name it. We were trying it because we were so desperate to get sales and to really figure it out. And then once we found one that started to get consistent sales and do well for us, then we doubled down on it and focused more on that. So that could be a method you could run for, Jen, is figure out what works for you and then double down on it. But at the beginning stages, experiment and figure out what works for you. And congrats on your 2 sales. I would consider going back and looking at your listings, figuring out if you can improve your mockups, improve your SEO, create more high quality designs that are using trending elements. Those are the essential things in order to really stand out. But another thing too, mockups. I've talked a lot about of mockups on my store or on my channel here. It is critical to purchase your mockups off of Etsy rather than using the print providers mockups. Like if you're using Printful or Printify, I recommend not using their mockups and use the ones you purchase off of Etsy, because these mockups look way more professional. They stand out, and it's just the best way to really scale your shop. And they do. If you compare them side by side, mock-up from Printify and then one that you purchase off of Etsy, it is night and day difference of what mock-up looks better and what will get the click. And I know a lot of you may be wondering, because there's been so much talk about mock-ups, that Etsy's suspending shops that are using mock-ups. It's important, if you're going to purchase mock-ups off of Etsy, that you are using the exact product that it is that you're selling. So if you're selling a Gildan 18,000 sweatshirt, on Etsy, search white Gildan 18,000 sweatshirt mockup. And so it's that exact product that is that you're selling. So there'll be no issues with your customer receiving a product that looks different than your listing photo, etc. And I think a lot of these shops are getting flagged and getting hurt because they're using either AI mockups. So it's not even the actual product that it is that they're selling. It's just a generic sweatshirt, or they're just not showing what it is that they're selling, if that makes sense. Okay, G standing for don't give up. Brennan knows I've really gone through it to get where I'm at. It takes more time than you think. You're one design away. It's really true. So, for those of you that have been in the community for a while, G Stanifer is probably one that's been here since the beginning, I'd say. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Gloria, but I remember her when I first started my channel, her commenting on my videos, and she's still here. And on the backside of things, I've seen her take her shop from nothing to scaling it and to doing extremely well on Etsy. And now she's starting her Shopify store. So take her as inspiration and know that it does take time. I agree. It really does take time in order to see results. Got my first 2 sales this week after like 3 months. Not much, but it felt so good. Congratulations. That's super exciting. And that's impressive. To get your first 2 sales after 3 months. That's just about where we were. And honestly, the first sale is the hardest to get. After that, it gets easier. I shouldn't say easier, but it becomes more easy in getting sales, because once you get a sale, that listing ranks better and then it performs better. And then hopefully with those 2 sales, you get reviews from your customers so that there's social proof that the product is actually what it looks like in the listing. And if it's a 5-star review, that's the best way to increase your sales. And something too with getting your sales, those first few initial sales, it is so important that you get reviews, and not only just reviews, but pictures with your reviews. I've noticed in our store with listings that have a lot of reviews with pictures do the best and have sold the best for us. So those pictures are game changers when it comes to conversion for your individual listings. And with that too, just a little plug you can do is, in the beginning stages, if you want, and with EverBee's email marketing now, you're able to quickly and easily do this. Is you can, with your customers, when they purchase from your store, you can thank them for purchasing from your store and say whatever else you want to say. And then once the item's been delivered, You can then follow up, make sure that the product is what they wanted it to be and hoped it to be, and that they're happy and satisfied with their order. And then if they are, you can then ask them, as a small business, it means so much to us if they would leave a review. And if they include a picture within that review, they can be entered into a giveaway that they could win a product from your store for that month. Just an idea. It's something that we've done in the beginning stages, and it really helped us scale our shop. All right. If you're finding value in this stream, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And I'll continue to answer questions here related to print on demand and Etsy and entrepreneurship in general. As a beginner, what you recommend to put list? Do you recommend listing by bulk with its? Hold on, Ann. Let me reread this. Sorry. As a beginner, what would you recommend in listing by bulk with is just difficult for me to understand right now, or just trying work one design at a time? So that's a great question. It's one downside and tricky side of Etsy is it's difficult to list in bulk, but there's ways and means in to do it, and by doing it. And G Standifer, I've talked a lot about her. She has mastered bulk listing, and she's figured out a great workflow to really automate the process. And also in my tutorial, my long form tutorial of how to list on Etsy with Printify, I share some tips in there for speeding up the process, such as like building your templates for your product that you're selling on Printify, for building your templates for your mockups in Canva. And I recommend going and watching that video, and because it will teach you exactly how we do it to speed up the process. And there's other ways to do it too. Maybe you could reach out to G Standifer. She can help you, or anyone in our community who has figured it out. You can ask it in our Facebook group, Print on Demand Warriors, and get some insight there. But I think a great way to do it is batch the flows. So focus on doing your trend research all at once, and then creating your designs, and then finding your SEO for those designs, creating your mockups, and then listing. So figure out what works for you. What way works for me may not be the best way that works for you, and vice versa. So just find kind of your flow and then run with it. Okay, Sherry, I wish you the best, and success will continue to come for you. Just keep up the great work. How can I make videos about my print on demand clothing? Thanks. So, one way you can do it is, if you're talking about for your listing photos, you can either order your products, so order samples and create your own videos. Another thing you can do is just do like a moving picture. So, if it's just a picture of, let's say you just have a picture of your product, you can then keyframe it in and make it so it has motion. And that's a lot of people just do that. So it's a simple moving picture, but it's just another way to stand out and to fill that slot in your listing photos for having a video. But I think really another option too is you could ask your customers. I haven't personally done this, but I think it's an idea that you should consider, and that I should consider myself. Is if you have a customer that has ordered that product, you could tell them, or reach out to them and say, "Hey, would you like to send me a video of the product, of you wearing it, or of whoever you bought it for wearing it?" And so that you could use in your listing photos. And they may want to do it or may not want to do it, but it's just an idea to get a real life photo or a real life video of that product. Okay, is it better to have combined items like t-shirts, sweatshirts, and tank tops with the same design in one listing, or should they be separate? So great question. I've seen shops do both. Us personally in our shop, we don't do this method because I believe the more digital real estate I can take up on Etsy, the better. So I'll create with that specific design, I'll create a listing for our t-shirts, and then I'll create a design or a listing for our sweatshirts. And same situation, if you were to sell tank tops too, you create another listing for your tank tops. Just because you're gonna fill another slot in search results, another chance to be found. You can experiment with different SEO for each listing, different mock-up photos. So it's just a way to better experiment and to take up more space on Etsy. But I've seen shops do well with offering them all in the same listing. Something else you can do, which we do, is in our description of our listing, we will include the like check out this design or this product that's related. So we'll include our related listings or our related designs to whatever that listing is, if that makes sense. So I make a video for every listing from the USMC movement gives away position. When people are scrolling and your thumbnail starts moving, it grabs their attention. I'd agree. It's a great way to stand out. And it's just that extra mile that not a lot of people are doing right now. So let's assume a shop got flagged 2 times as per Etsy rules. Third time, seller account got closed. Should I delete my Etsy shop myself so it will be another chance? What are your thoughts? It depends on why your shop was flagged and why it was suspended. If you're following all the rules in the handbook, then there's no reason to close it. You should just reach out to Etsy and get your shop reinstated. But if you are violating Etsy's rules and house policies, then yeah, that's your, I guess that you brought that upon yourself. So up to you. I recommend reaching out to Etsy to see the situation and what to do. But if there's no reason your shop should be closed, then don't close your shop. But it does happen for new sellers more often than not. A new print-on-demand seller, for whatever reason, their shop gets flagged and suspended for a certain time, and then they'll get it back. And this happened to us 2 times when we first started out. So just expect it, so you won't be alarmed, and know that you'll get it back as long as you didn't break any of the rules. And that is the hard pill to swallow with selling on Etsy: is you're at the mercy of Etsy and you don't have full control. And even if you haven't violated anything, you can get suspended for no reason. But don't let this scare you away, because there's still so much opportunity on Etsy. And I've mentioned this before, but like at the beginning, if after our shop got suspended, if I just gave up and didn't try to get it reinstated and try to fight Etsy to get it back, my life the past 3 years would have been completely different than it was. So yeah, just push through it and figure out what's going on. But great question. Do you have a member club? I currently don't, and that's a great question. I don't know. I'm conflicted on if I should start a membership or a course, but I'm conflicted on it, and I'm working through it right now, and if I should or should not, because I share so much information on my channel that's completely free and hopes to help you guys. So at the moment, I do not offer any service like that. Are there any early signs that indicates that your store will take off? I mean, any type of engagement. So if you're getting a lot of favorites on your listings and customers are favoriting your shop, it's an indicator that what you're offering is of interest to customers. And then obviously, if you're getting getting initial sales, that's another indicator. But yeah, other than that, it's just a matter of doing the grind and putting in the work and making pivots and shifts in your business to make sure that you stand out. I think selling on Etsy is fun. In my handmade store, I only have 20 items, and 3 of those are Etsy bestsellers. It keeps me just busy enough. Well, that's awesome, Miley on Disney. Congratulations and awesome job on creating a design that a customer wants and for getting those bestsellers, because it's not easy to get a bestseller. And when you get a bestseller, your sales grow significantly. But the downside of getting a bestseller, I feel like honestly in my past, I always wanted to get a bestseller until I got a bestseller. And then I realized once I had that bestseller, everyone goes and rips off your design. So I think the best thing to do is to get in that sweet spot of selling consistently before receiving that bestseller badge, before everyone rips it off. But if you do have a bestseller, something that you can do is run a sale on that listing, and Etsy will show that it's on sale rather than showing the bestseller. So it's just a way to hide your bestseller to prevent people from stealing your design. Okay, after adding almost 170 listings, I got 7 sales from my friends, but now I am not getting no views and visits. I have found my sub niche and now I've started designing in that sub niche. So awesome. If you are comfortable in designing in that sub niche and you can create designs that are unique enough that will sell, I say run with it. But also at the same time, Raymas, don't limit yourself to designing just for a sub niche because it's it's an easy way to really limit yourself on what you can sell and what you can design for and what niches you can be a part of, what holidays you can be a part of, etc. So don't be afraid to experiment and design for a lot of different niches and to see what does well for you. But if you know the sub niche really well and you have a lot of great designs for it, then I'm sure you'll do great. But keep up the awesome work. I do buy mock-ups, but some of the products I sell, they don't have mock-ups for like the dress and dress shirt. But I do use print provider mock-ups and change out the background crop face. Awesome idea, Jen. You are limited to what mock-ups you can buy if they're not offered. Um, but yeah, I think what you're doing is a great method and a great way to make it look different and stand out. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to answer a few more questions. If you're finding value in the stream, make sure you give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend or family member. Also, if you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, Print on Demand Warriors, you can go and join that. I have a link down in the description. But I'll answer a few more questions here. Is it bad for family to leave reviews if you live at the same address? Will Etsy flag that? I think you do need to be careful with this. In the past, I've done this. When we first started out, we had family members who had bought from our store to support our shop. They left reviews, and we didn't have really any issues. But I think it's a concern to be aware of. So if you can avoid it, I would avoid it at all costs, just to play it 100% safe. You could be fine doing it or it could hurt you. So to play it safe, Karen, I would just advise and recommend to not have them do that. But you could have friends outside of your family home on a different IP address purchase and leave reviews. All righty, my friends. Well, thank you so much for tuning into the stream today. It's great to be able to connect with you, and I hope you found some value in this stream. If you missed the beginning of the stream, go ahead and watch the beginning of it. And if you haven't given it a thumbs up, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't watched my most recent videos, I recommend going and watching them. I have my most recent video is how to prepare for Q4, which is still applicable for Christmas. I recommend going and watching that. And I walk you through all the steps that you need to know to be prepared for the holiday season. And another last piece of advice I have for you is right now, you're probably if you're already selling for Christmas, those sales will continue for the next few weeks. But remember, after Christmas, things will slow down. That's just natural. It will happen. So you have to make sure that you're still designing for evergreen niches so that you can continue the momentum and the sales for the coming year. So make sure you just stick with it, keep creating high quality designs, do your trend research, implement what I teach here on my channel and others teach, and I promise success will come and you can change the course of your life if you're willing to put in the work. If I can, you can. I'm no different than you. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.